Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know what time it is? Is it that time of the year?
It smells like Friday.
Wonderful. No, it's TLF, baby, and that stands for
Tier List Flame. What?
Days.
No. Anyway,
what are we doing today?
We're looking at melee, the most fun melee in our opinion. You can watch, but it's basically what we think is most fun. Now, what's better, now what has most damage, but although damage kind of factors into
damage, class fantasy, mechanics,
depth,
rotation, depth, you know, paid depth and all of that. But, you know, it has been proven that we play much more melees than ranged. Now, that doesn't mean we don't like ranged. I love my mage to death, and he loves his shadow praise to death.
Huh?
What? Moving along, but today it is melee day, and we have to focus on whatever we think is fun, and maybe you can let us know in the comments as well what you think about it, all right? It's totally fine having fun with melees, and the best way to have fun with melees is with improving your UI and stuff with add-ons, and add-ons that are being managed on the CurseForge client. Yes, I've been using CurseForge since they took over the Twitch app, and it has been a smooth ride ever since. The app is super stable, constant updates. I think on a weekly basis now we have updates to everything like bugs and quality of life improvements and whatnot. Updating all of your add-ons with one button, sorting them out alphabetically, which, do I remind you, on the Twitch app you couldn't ordinate them alphabetically. So that's really, really good. And also they are helping out the add-on creators all around. 70% of the revenue from the ads over there and the subscriptions are going to the add-ons creators directly. So everybody gets to win with this. We use it, and listen, if you want to get all of the add-ons we use, just check the link in the description. There's a page there with all of our add-ons, but only after you watch the video, okay? Because you already know you know how it works, okay?
We have time.
All right, thank you guys first for sponsoring the video, and now let's get into the Arms Warrior.
Arms Warrior.
Is it fun? Oh my god,
this is I think the only melee that we've both played at this point in this patch.
Yeah, boy. Man, do I love it.
Arms Warrior, okay, so Arms Warrior did get a bunch of buffs which made it shine a little bit more on the meters. It's still really fun, and the fact that, you know, you can play Kyrian right now. Personally, for my Arms Warrior,
I play Nightface.
So we kind of have like sense of the both aspects of the arms. I really like the fact that Enduring Blow is the legendary of choice. It's really fun to just smash mortal strikes and big mortal strikes and bigger mortal strikes.
Well, my friend, I play with Signet of Tormented Kings, and but I love it in Mythic Plus. I only raided a couple of times, and the first time I raided on Heroic, I got my Jatis, and it was super fun. Now playing Night Fae, you know, it's really, really great. The thing about Arms that I like, and this is not a meta talk, okay? I know Arms is pretty meta in all content, but it has nothing to do with it. It's just that feel of being a more methodical melee and being able to, like, you know, pull ahead some rage and
take it easy, think about it.
Yeah, you don't spam shit, because if you spam shit, you know, nothing's gonna go for it. So it has a little bit, I would say, more intellectual approach to it, and it is an Arms Warrior, right? So you would expect like, well, you have that, but nevertheless, it's fun. I'm gonna put it in S tier. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an S tier. I've been really thinking about it. It's S tier is basically supposed to be like kind of what we think will be maining. Arms is definitely a spec that I can see myself main. Oh, yes. There are others that I feel like will chip a little bit at that, but we'll get to them, because right now we have
Assassination Rogue, el asesino criticalando, hombre. So we have the Assassination Rogue, and this is a spec that I have played last patch and this patch as well. It's fun. I really like it. Now, the thing about Assassination Rogue is, I think I mentioned this all of the time. It's really easy to pull off in single target, and it does pretty high damage over there.
I've seen the numbers.
It fulfills that fantasy, especially now with the Dashing Scoundrel Legendary and the Frost Shard set. Really big ass crits for sure. No problem there. I would have a problem with Assassination. Not a big one in Mythic Plus keys, just because in comparison to the other rogue specs, you have to really work to make it work.
work that damage, man.
Yeah, Assassination in keys is basically being able to maintain a lot of your dots and refreshing them while also doing high damage to a priority target and always switching around. And it can get hectic sometimes. Not to mention, if you're like me and you play, you know, with super decent geared people. Now Flame on his survival, you know, just smack shit. Ads do not last for that long, and the thing with the ticks for poisons and bleeds and the Zoldyck legendary as well, you have to have these ads live long in order for you to feel, I don't know, useful and shit. And that being said, I would rate Assassination based on these I would say B tier. I don't know if you have anything to say about it, but
I haven't played Rogue this patch, but I've always liked the concept of Assassination. I would have put it into A tier, but since I haven't touched it yet, I'll let you.
Yeah, it drags it down a little bit for me just because of the dungeons. That the fantasy is there, you know. You're basically, you know, master poisoner and, you know, having bleeds and, you know, and venoming and all of that. It's really cool. I would just, you know, be a little bit more happy if I don't know, maybe the damage over time was a little bit better on dungeons, but regardless, let's just move along to Enhancement Shaman.
Yeah, let's move from one side to the other. Enhancement Shaman.
Your cue.
Well, Enhancement Shaman is a spec that has a lot of potential, but also needs a lot more work because I feel it's one of the most neglected melee specs in the game, together with probably Frost Decay. Enhancement Shaman just needs a little bit more attention. They were trying to do something really cool with it in the beta, but they kind of just, you know, left it where it is right now, which is just a lot. I feel like it has a little bit too much RNG in its rotation, and you can end up, because the damage is good, but you can end up from doing really well to, oh Jesus Christ, why am I not getting Stormbringer procs? So that's my issue with Enhancement. Enhancement could be a lot better if it just had a little bit of oomph, maybe a tad damage buff, but also either make some bad luck protection with all this RNG procs, maybe fix the list of bugs, which I don't know if all of them have been fixed yet, but remember that podcast that we did with the boys?
The
God
thing. Yeah,
damn.
I know.
For me, Enhancement is about B or A spec. We can put it into B by judging the same arguments that you had for Assassination. It could very well have S-class potential, but it's missing a few too many things for that to happen.
Okay, fair enough. Now, let's move along to the kitty cat, to the feral, which I still absolutely adore and love, and you have to understand, you cannot, it's maybe more or less the same argument as Assassination. You cannot have two, I would say, too much of a big performance in Mythic Plus. However, we do see ferals doing pretty good in keys, but in raiding, especially on pure single target, feral is pumping hard, and it's fun to play. It's not as, I would say, slow as Assassination. Assassination is a bit more slow in terms of like energy pooling and being able to do your finishers and maintain all of your bleeds and stuff. Feral is much more faster, and for that, and that alone, not to mention that I've made this last season, and I loved it. It's gonna be an A tier, not S tier anymore, because I still feel it needs a tad more love for AOE. But you know, that single target, oh man, it's lovely, and it's a Druid. I mean, you cannot go wrong with Druid. It's versatile, it's mobile, you know, has, you know, utility. Not in raids, but you know, it still has good things. Okay, love the kitty cats. It's an A tier. Frost Decay, what's up?
Oh man, Frost Decay is, okay, so I mentioned that Frost Decay is another spec that has been neglected by Blizzard because pretty much the playstyles are the same that have been for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Barely any talent changes. Like, we had a new talent that's so bad that nobody even uses it. We have a couple of rows where the talents are just so good that you cannot really pick anything else. That's kind of what's holding it back. Other than that, Frost Decay is really fun. It's kind of like the Fury Warrior of DK, where it's pretty easy to get into. It has some high skills caps when it comes to maybe maintaining.
That's what you do. Skill caps. I love it.
There are hardly any other more boss moments in the game than launching your Frostwind Furies in an AoE and seeing you raise a couple of ranks in the damage meters just from that one spell alone. That's one of the most badass spells in the game. For me, Frost Decay is around A tier. I actually do find it way more fun than Enhancement. It's if it could have a little bit more viability in the talents and have some variety over there, I feel like it could be easy S tier.
Okay, fair enough. We're gonna keep it as an A tier for now, because you know you talked about some shortcomings, but we move along to one of my new favorites in the melee department, and that is Fury Warrior. Now, Fury Warrior, as opposed to ARMS, is not that methodical. It's not easy, don't get me wrong. Now, after Flame did his research for the guide and I watched the priority and rotation and open, I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't this supposed to be just smash whatever's available? No. So I love that about it because the impression of Fury Warriors over time, the community perception at least, was that, this spec is button smashing all day long.
Well, it is very fluid, but if you really want to optimize your damage, there's a lot of, because probably this is maybe the downside or the upside of having so many systems. To optimize all of them individually, you have a lot of choices that can end up boosting your damage by quite a bit, and having to think about all of that while also,
shut up, Cloud.
Creative Cloud, having to think about all of that while also playing a very fluid spec is very rewarding.
It's smooth. For me, Fury is S tier. What about you?
It would have been about A tier for me.
Okay, so definitely an S tier here. I'm having fun. So if it's A tier for you and S tier for me, we can go for the margin and put it on. It's still nice.
It's fine, man. It's a spec that a lot of people can consider.
I mean, 1 minute Blaze Storm, it's a beautiful thing. There's no way around it. It smashes a lot. It's super smooth. And, I just love a spec who has, a 1 minute bursty cooldown available. That's it. Okay, Havoc Demon Hunter. Now, is this an S tier for you or not?
It's very close this year. It's definitely higher for me than Frost Decay. It's just a really, really good spec. I think they're doing really well with Havoc Demon Hunter Dispatch, making Essence Break one of the most difficult openers to do on any melee spec that I've played so far.
Would you have expected that?
It's a lot. I've never expected Havoc to become one of the more complicated melee specs to pull off properly. You have different kinds of builds, different kind of legendaries. You have at least 2 builds, which is a big plus in my book. And they're all viable in pretty much all encounters. Momentum is still a thing, which is,
hell yeah.
I mean, I cannot be honest with myself and not put Havoc in S tier.
Okay, whoa. Didn't expect that, but sure. Okay, now let's talk about Outlaw Rogue for a second. So here's the thing. I love all the Rogue specs, okay? They have different values in different departments, okay? Now, Outlaw for me is more or less a piano spec. It is fun. You have a lot of APM for that motherfucker, let me tell you. It's just... I would have been more happy with Outlaw because, or for the reasoning of it being a piano spec, if it had a little bit more in-depth to it. But it's basically, this is a pure case where you have multiple buttons and things to maintain, and you just press them when they're available, more or less, okay? And I'm talking, me 15s to 17s, no problemo. That being said, it is a bit chaotic, and out of all of the 3 specs, I think Outlaw is the least favorite for me. So it does perform well, it does damage. I mean, I think it's, after sub, it's up there, in all, big keys and whatever. And I have to say this, I was a huge fan of the old Combat Rogue. I never really was into the whole piratey thing. I have to put this in because of class fantasy or whatever. I understand the logic why they changed it, from Combat to Outlaw to make like distinctions between them and whatever. But for me, Outlaw at this point, with all due love, it's gonna be a C tier. Now, I don't know if you have something to...
go for it, man. You have full reign on the Rogue.
Yeah,
I haven't played the Rogue right now. I actually kind of like the piratey theme of Outlaw. I felt it was a little bit fresh for Rogue because Outlaw felt just a weird... Combat felt a weird mash between Rogue and Fury Warrior. But having it this way is, for me, class fantasy-wise, is nice. I like the fact that they added Dreadblades, although they should probably buff that eventually. I know that they're addressing it in 9.5.
Yeah, they're addressing it. Yeah,
I don't know if that's enough to bring it back into the fold. Every expansion or every major patch, they're addressing the throw the die mechanic thing, the roll the dice.
Roll the dice, yeah.
Even better and better.
Roll the bones.
Roll the bones, god damn it. Where it's way different than what it was in WoD and Legion pre-patch.
Oh yeah, it's much better now, yeah.
So I feel like Outlaw is going really good places. I haven't actually delved into the Shadowlands playstyle for all the piano stuff as well, but Outlaw would have been normally like a B tier-ish for me, but I guess C tier might be better.
It's, it's just, the C tier doesn't mean it's shit, it's our opinion, and my experience mostly on playing it. I played it a lot last season, like I got my KSM with it, to be fair, but it was, I played it because Sub and Assassination could just not deliver, what Outlaw delivered. Okay, now let's move along to the Red Paladin. No questions asked.
Okay, now Sub Rogue.
It's directly S tier for me, and I'm hoping for you too, because you did play Red Paladin.
It's high. I wouldn't put it in S tier, but I'm gonna let you put it.
Listen,
I cannot take it away, man. I cannot. Take
Come on, man. This is my true love.
It's the thing is with Red for me, it does a lot of things right, but it still has glaring weaknesses that I don't feel like they're addressing. It feels like Red is red can be one of the most interesting melees to play. It feels like the content is not necessarily catered to it, or at least
not all the time.
I felt it's very satisfying to play Final Reckoning, and Execution Sentence is one of the most satisfying single target playstyles that I have played through.
And Divine Toll, man, and the new legendary from the Kyrian. Now you can basically line up everything. It's amazing. So here's what it is. Red Paladin, first of all, in terms of like class fantasy and mechanics and whatever, it's 100% there. You feel you are a paladin just because of the spells, how it looks, how it sounds. Everything is there. I recently picked it up again and I fell in love once again because it is my true love. Now, in terms of like what you were saying, the weaknesses are still there, no doubt. It's hard to maintain DPS if you're going to go in that department outside of, you know, the 1 minute burst. It can remind you of a fire mage from time to time. Really huge burst.
In wings, yeah, that was probably what would have put red in A tier for me. Kind of similar to Frost DK. Once you have your cooldowns, you really feel, oh my god, this is such a cool moment. And it's maybe that there is just a predominant spec design where they have, okay, cooldowns are really cool, but you're really boring outside. Yeah,
there's secrets to maintaining, I would say, but not as, you know, compared to other melees. But that being said, it's 100% a fun spec to play, you know, really useful. And I don't know, man, it's there. It's S tier for sure. I cannot recommend playing red enough in any type of content. Now, Sub Rogue, another S tier for me. I'm sorry, Flame, there's nothing you can see here.
I would always like the fantasy of Sub more than Outlaw anyway.
So talking about Sub Rogue, this is one of those specs that we have mentioned multiple times in tier lists and stuff. So it's not easy to pull off. For a lot of people, it might be weird because you have to learn how to line up a lot of the things, especially now with Flagellation from Ventir, with the legendary Obedience. You have to like make sure you line up your symbols of that with that and Shadow Dance, and make sure you put in many more finishers as possible into the flag window to reduce its cooldown, while also maintaining Slice and Dance, which I sometimes don't do. I'm sorry. But you know, and Rupture too. It's fun to have access to your burst really fast, and this is how you do it. Basically, there's mechanics to Sub Rogue where you basically reduce your Shadow Dance, and there's different ways you can approach that. That being said, it delivers high damage, especially single target, and this is a big misconception about it. It can do amazing in keys only on 4+ targets. If you have a Sub Rogue, if you're a tank and you play with a Sub Rogue and he does low damage, you might look at the way because Sub Rogue cleave damage is non-existent. It's shit. So in order for a Sub Rogue to do cleave damage, not even competitively, right? So it has to go into like Shadow Dance and Symbols. And if this list is 3 targets, you have to like go on each of them, put Rupture on each of them, and then choose one and do single target on it. Or if you can like Fan of Knives, but I'm not going to go into like geeking out of it. So Sub Rogues are 100% S tier.
More targets, just a little bigger.
It's because of the buffs to Fan of Knives and you know, having the Shuriken Tornado talented. It can do really well on 4+ targets mainly. But that being said, it's great to play. It's fluid, it's fast, it's up there, and it delivers. So definitely S tier. And another S tier, I'm guessing, because it's Survival Hunter, baby.
It's way up there. I feel like Survival is actually getting a lot of performance, way more than I personally expected in this patch. Although it dropped off a little bit in the rankings of the raid, probably because people are just gearing a lot more, and they're just finding ways to deal with at least the AoE fights a little bit better. Yeah. Survival is a beast in AoE.
Oh my god, and, it's ridiculous. Nobody can beat you on that shit.
It's really good, and there's a lot of cool things that you can optimize. Talking with Marcelian about Assassination in AoE, about other difficult specs like Shadow Priest as well, because I'm also playing Shadow Priest. Survival is not necessarily as complex in understanding how to do AoE. It's just maybe a little bit trickier to use because you're playing essentially with like a very strict global intensive spec that you're working around Carve in AoE, and the way you're optimizing your downtime on Carve is kind of what I feel influences your damage to the most, and that can change based on pack to pack, based on what gear you have, based on what talents you have.
It doesn't need to be complicated, man. It just delivers.
It's really good. It's people don't give it enough credit, and I'm fine with it because I don't want Blizzard devs to like, I'm just doing a little bit too much damage.
Year of the Spear, no doubt, at least in Mythic Plus, but you're doing quite all right in raids as well, man. Like the top 3 DPS always, so no problem.
It's mostly shards, to be honest.
It's all good, man. It's all good. But S tier. 100%. It's also like, you know, fantasy, mechanics, rotation.
I mean, it's the hunter. It's the one in the savannah with the fucking spear going to hunt fucking lions as the survival answer.
Yeah, and pumas. And now going into the Unholy Death Knight, which you have played.
Unholy Death Knight, again, they really did really cool with it with Unholy Blight and Shadowlands. For me, it's still an A tier. It's similar to Frost Decay.
But is it in front?
I think it's a little bit in front. Unholy Decay feels like it's
I cannot put a little bit.
Okay, pull it fully in front. That's fine. Unholy Decay is nice. I feel like right now that Unholy Decay can use Clawing Shadows makes it feel like the high movement fights are a little bit less impactful. I like that it's another way cooldown based spec, but you have way more cooldowns. You can either just align all of them or play around each one, and that's actually pretty interesting. The attention that they added to Unholy can be added to Frost. Frost feels a little bit with like big moments, like you drop Froststorm's Fury. Unholy has all of the moments making you rise on the meters, so you don't really know exactly like which one is amazing. I kind of don't like the fact that they really changed the bursting swords mechanic from BFA, because that felt really cool to pull off, just like exploding everything.
Yeah, that was I remember that. That was awesome, dude.
And they didn't really address Festering Wounds too much, which is probably what's keeping it for being an S tier for me. Because Festering Wounds are still kind of like a core, or at least supposedly a core mechanic of Unholy, so it's just a little bit funky, but it's solid A tier, I can definitely see it becoming S tier eventually.
No, it's there, and we'll keep it that way, because, you know, until some more love goes to both these specs, Frost and Unholy, A tier is no sneeze, man. Don't think like only S tier matters. Like as Flame said, S tier is basically what we will probably main at some point. Now let's go to the last melee spec on the charts here, and that is the Windwalker Monk. And Windwalker has been an A tier spec, I would say S tier spec, in both meta, at least in Castle Nathria, and in our hearts for a long time. I think
right now is the best spec, possibly best spec in the raid, if not definitely the best melee. Last I checked, I think I checked a few days ago.
But yeah, but again, this is one example of we're not looking at the meta or logs or anything, okay? We have like ranked Windwalker Monks in terms of like fun tier list all the time into S tier, just because we both love the spec, how it plays, its mechanics, everything. And it's amazing. The fact that it also has really good damage, and we can touch on the
buffs to spinning crane kick.
they're buffing spinning crane kick again, man. So that's like the staple of it in dungeons. It's ridiculous how much damage it can do. And
you talk about my survival, man, but you haven't seen the spinning crane kick. Jesus.
I've seen. I mean, this is it. I also have my monk. It's not ready. Obviously, I need to get a lot more things to it. But it feels like, I don't know, there's a couple of bugs with spinning kick also that makes it more like it's a mess over there. Regardless,
they're probably working on fixing the bugs, which is I imagine why they're buffing.
They're buffing it, yeah. Probably getting into that. But that being said, in terms of like single target, you know, traditionally Windwalkers didn't really have much single target, like pure, and it was a bit of an issue for it. That didn't really cut off of it the gameplay and the fun play style overall for it. It's smooth, it's fast. The thing about pressing a different ability all the time and not repeating it and dude, if you go onto the Peak of Serenity website and look at Windwalker and see the work Babylonius has done there, and how much you can optimize this spec is unbelievable. It's worthy of an S tier for sure, and definitely something we would recommend for you to play, or at least give it a go, and definitely something that we would main in the near future. So that being said, this is the final image. Look at the amount of S tiers.
What a sausage in S tier, man. It's like all of them.
Yeah, it's a big schlong of S tiers here, and we love it, right? We can see ours, we can see Windwalker, you know, a couple of meta specs here, but again, guys, it's not about the meta here. Fuck the meta. It's about how fun are these specs, and, you know, taking into account everything, right? The class fantasy, the mechanics, the rotation, how much you can optimize, and of course, we can add in the damage and utility as well there, but not as important, right? Now, what is important at this moment in time and forever are our Patreons!
Hell yeah! Thank you for supporting the video, guys. I know you enjoy the tier list and we enjoy making them as well, especially when it comes to the fun part, because obviously everybody has their own favorites, but you Patreons make pretty much all of this possible, so we really appreciate it. Really grateful that you, dear viewer, check link down below.
Check it out. You better check it out.
You'll get to our Patreon
Don't just sit on your ass.
A couple of goodies that you want to get. Maybe it's you just want to give something back.
It's very
we
serious.
Appreciate it because we love what we do.
Yeah, so that being said, Flame covered it all over there. He's very serious when talking about these things, so don't you dare laugh, okay? And we want to thank you for watching the video. We wish you have a great weekend ahead, and bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.